going live. We're now going live in YouTube, and maybe we can start now. The group to present the paper Dichotomous Beliefs Between Religion and Social Ethics in the First Century, a reading of the Gospel of John, chapter 4, verses 21 to 24. Are you now ready? Are you now ready?
The question of God is a question of origin
Yes, sir.
and of
Okay.
human existence.
Do you have your video with you, or I will be the one to present the video from my Google Drive? Which one do you prefer?
The question of God.
Sir, kayo na lang po.
Ako na lang. Anong title?
Lambs of God po.
Lambs of God. Let me check. Lambs of God. Okay, here. Okay, sandali. Okay, let us acknowledge the presence of our panelist, Professor Joe Dominic de Guzman. Sir, thank you for coming in.
Pleasure to be with you, Sir Nolan. God
Thank you,
bless.
sir. Okay, do you see now the screen? Do you see my screen now?
Yes,
Yes,
po.
yes.
Let me check the sound. Wait. Let me check it first.
This study will be tackling
Okay.
Okay.
Is it clear?
It's clear.
Okay. Let us start now.
This study will be tackling the paradigm of purpose and essence of religion that has been part of humanity's culture. The main focus of this study is chapter 4 of John, verse 21st to 24th. It will tackle the essence of true worship in the name of God. This study will first explore the Old Testament to explain the fundamental essence and sense of worship. Then, it will proceed to the exegetical study of the chosen passage in detail and elucidating its context. Furthermore, this research will have an analysis on society's behavior concerning their beliefs on the concept of worship and social ethics in the 21st century. The second part of the study will be a comprehensive elucidation of the chosen passage that will explain the true meaning of worship and how it is related in today's generation. It is an exegesis integrated with the researcher's insight as to how it affects the 21st era.
This study leads us to the statement of the problem, which discusses the question, what is the reason of the dichotomy between religion and social ethics, and how does it affect the society in the 21st century? Furthermore, this query is supported by a sub-question. What is the true meaning and intent of the word worship?
The researchers were able to formulate the following hypothesis. There is a significant difference between religion and social ethics in the 21st century that can be considered as to why it is believed to be a separate entity.
For the methodology, 1992, exegesis is the process of carefully analyzing Bible verses in order to generate meaningful interpretations of those passages. This approach will contribute to the study's purpose of holistically analyzing the relationship of religion and social ethics. Furthermore, researchers will use descriptive analysis method. According to Malcolm's 2020, descriptive research aims to accurately and systematically describe a certain population, situation, or phenomenon. This study aims to have a comprehensive and intellectual discovery begins to proliferate, the significance of religion and social ethics being inseparable.
First part of the body is about defining the concept of worship through the works in the Old Testament. Worship is about expressing a great love of affection or adoration. Based on Deuteronomy, fear of God is used as another context of worship as the command and law of the Lord. And it said that as long as you live by keeping all his decrees and command that the Lord gave, and so that you may have enjoy long life.
The last part of this study will be focused on the philosophical outlook of the majority of our society in terms of the concept of religion. It will showcase some instances where the concept of worshiping is besmirched and compromised, and how it is related in our social ethics. This will help our society to understand why does our mindset are being dichotomized in the topic of religion and social ethics.
For the conclusion, there is so much more in the word worship. Its essence and purpose of God's chosen people are infinite. The worshippers God seeks are not to those who confine their morality inside the church and act differently after worship. The paradigm of community, it brings harmony in their cultic life and spiritual life, is attainable through God. The worship should start from the church and flow out through the community by practicing love, justice, kindness, and mercy to everything God created. Based on the teachings of Jesus and Messiah, as seen from the works of John, maybe this be a fresh reminder to everyone that God is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, and God should live not only in our words and thoughts but only in our actions. This work will serve as a wake-up call for those people who feign ignorance from the true meaning of worship. The people of God are then commanded to participate in social works to create order, justice, grace, compassion, and harmony in the world. For this is the only way to bless and serve the community, and through worship, it characterizes the effect on our lives and not on our status. We worship not for ourselves, but more God's grace and blessing.
Based on the analysis of the data gathered, this study makes the following recommendations. Further analysis of other parts of the Bible is recommended to help improving the dichotomy between religion and social ethics. Also, future researchers are advised to use this study as a motivation to spread awareness on how widely the word worship has been misused in the 21st century. And lastly, qualitative and quantitative studies are suggested to explore and investigate this social issue to its full extent. That would be all. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much for the nice presentation from the first group for the second day of our mini conference. Let us now give the virtual floor to our panelist, Professor Dominic De Guzman. Sir?
Hello, what again is the passage that you expanded and explained? Can you read the passage? The gospel passage that you wanted to expound and explain. Anyone, can you read the passage? Yung biblical passage na ginamit din niyo.
Yung buo, yung buo.
Yung buo.
Babasahin lang po.
Mababasahin lang.
Babasahin lang.
Jesus replied, "Believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father, neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know. For salvation is from the Jews, yet a time is coming, and has now come, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. They are the kind of worshipper that Father seeks. God is spirit, and his worshipper must worship the spirit and in truth.
So you connected really worship to ethics. So what's the connection of worship and ethics?
Sir, come again. I can't hear you, bro.
You in your discussion that you are trying to connect worship with ethics. So what's in the passage that you have seen that there should be a connection of worship and ethics?
It is said, Bose, that you Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know. And yung phrase na po yun, we can say po na sometimes we are blind fanatics po. Because we worship things that aren't really the one that will give us salvation po. Like, so for some people, they worship money, they worship fame, power, and etc. po. But what Jesus said is, we worship what we do know. And yung wina-worship po niya is God. And those who follow Jesus worship what worships yung the Father in spirit and in truth. And if you have read the ano po, our paper, we discussed po the meaning of worship based on the Old Testament po.
Hmm. Can you say that really the Christians or the Bible who read the scripture already had the complete understanding of who God is and what means to be, what what this God really wants? The- Is any churches or any Christian or any grouping or religious grouping has a complete and perfect idea who God is and what God wants? Meron na ba? May nakakaalam bang taong may mga grupo pa ng tao o simbahan o grouping na nakakaalam kung ano gusto lahat ng Diyos? Meron ba? Can one denomination or one church claim they know how God thinks? Meron ba? May makakaalam ba na masabi na alam namin kung ano iniisip ng Diyos lahat? Can anyone claim that? Like, anyone can claim that they really know everything, what God knows or what God wants? Sa palagay niya?
Anybody from the group to answer based on your study? The inquiry of our panelist?
Sir,
Yes, Martin.
sir, if for us in our study, di po namin masabi na there are some churches that will say na they really know what God's want and what the gods really wanted, but instead of saying that they know what God's wanted, they are only following what Jesus teachings and spreading that teachings to the society, which is makes us faithful or following these teachings and commandments po.
What is the commandment of Jesus? What is the main commandment of Jesus that you have to follow?
The 10 commandments po that Jesus gave to Moses. And
The 10 Commandments.
Wait, Jesus and Moses are not contemporaries. Do not be confused about
no,
that.
not this
Si
sir,
God
but
po, si
the
God
God
po.
himself. Sorry po, my mistake.
Okay, okay.
What Martin is trying to say, sir, uh, based on this passage po kasi, Jesus said that there will come a time the true worshippers will worship Father in the Spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshipper that Father seeks. It's really vague, pero we can infer from that yung worshippers na gusto ni God is the worshippers that instills the God's teachings in his actions, works, and his deeds po, not just in his words and thoughts.
So what will be the basis of their action and their deeds and action according to the teaching of Jesus? What will be the basis of their deeds and action that will see that they are really following and able to understand the teaching of Jesus? So what will be the basis?
Sir, the basis, we think in the basis because in our body, they are said that, based on Deuteronomy, as long as we keep all His decrees and commands that the Lord gave, we will have a enjoy long life.
What is that command? What is that command that you need to follow?
Please remember that the question of Sir Dom is actually looking into the possibility of you concretizing, verbalizing the very command of Jesus, which is actually different from the command of Moses, the Ten Commandments. Okay, please remember that Moses is into Ten Commandments, but what is the command of Jesus, like relating to the Ten Commandments, but not really the Ten Commandments.
Based on ano po, sir,
Dalawa lang yun.
Jesus po wants us to love God and love your neighbors as yourself.
Okay, that's one. Because the people in history before Jesus Christ were never able to fulfill the Ten Commandments. In fact, they had expanded the Ten Commandments to 600 commandments, and they failed to fulfill it. And Jesus came and explained as simply to love God and to love your neighbor. And He has given one basis how to love God and to love neighbor. How? What is that basis Jesus gave?
I think it is if we forgive others who have wronged us, and show love and kindness and mercy.
Who is the model? Who is the one that we will follow how to love?
I think Jesus itself po, when he was
Okay.
crucified, ano po, diba?
Jesus
He
Christ is the very model. What new commandment that He gave? That to make it clear that you have to follow me. He gave that new commandment. And that will be the very basis of being Christian. The very basis of
love one
being
another,
to follow what?
sir. To love one another.
To love
For
one
us to love
another.
one another.
Jesus started to say, you hear that it says. And he pertains the old saying to the kind of commandment given by Moses. Then he renews it by saying what? That is what Sir Dom is trying to say. and that is in the whole chapter of John in chapter 4. Please remember that the kind of presentation of John is coming from the whole thing about uh, God as the Word flesh, the Word made flesh. Then in John 3:16, it talks about love. In chapter 4, it talks actually of a certain new commandment given to us by Jesus. But this new commandment is actually based on an old commandment. You hear that it says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Then what is the new commandment?
Uh, I think Jesus said to love one another as He loved them, as Jesus loved us.
Very good. To love
Nice.
one another as I have
Loved
loved
you.
you. So the basis of our love, the basis of how to love is to see how Jesus loved. And to see how Jesus loved is really to see how he was able to live his life and how he is able to teach in words and in action. So that will be the basis. That's why it is said, Jesus is like us, but Jesus is like kapareho natin. He's like us, but sin. Jesus
Except
did not sin. And what's the meaning of sin? Simple. The Ten Commandment is all about loving God and loving neighbor. So if you don't love God and neighbor, you're sinning. So sin is when you have not love, like Jesus. So Jesus in his whole life never failed to love. Even to the end, he was crucified. Okay, he was crucified, but he was tortured, mocked, and ridiculed, and he was naked. Naked siya nung kinrucify to ridicule him because Jesus is circumcised. The Romans are not circumcised. Mga supot sila. They are proud to be supot because they are the perfect image of God, the men. So they are ridiculing Jesus. But what is the response of Jesus? What did he say to the soldiers when they were mocking him? The priests that were mocking him. Ano response ni Jesus? Ano sinabi niya in the cross? Father,
yes, Jalisa. Jalisa is saying something. Go ahead, Jalisa. I read your mouth, and that is the
For
correct one.
forgive them for they have sinned po.
very good. So responded with love, with understanding, with compassion. That's why that is the very message of Jesus true. Our worship should be seen in our ethics, in how we decide for the good. Okay? The basis is love. So yun pinaka nun. So those who are trying to throw mud with one another, a religion that's trying to throw mud at one another, proving that they are greater than the other, is not following the teaching of Jesus. And those who that happened in World War II and in World War One, they are praying to Jesus, but somehow they're killing one another. The Germans are killing the French, and the French also are killing the Germans in World War One, and it's also in World War Two. They pray to the same Jesus in the name of Jesus. So eventually, we are made to understand, like Pope John the 23rd is telling us, by writing yung peace on earth, the encyclical, stop the fighting. And let's have the example of this. In Francis is saying also, even the prostitute, even the lesbian, the homosexual will not be judged if they're doing good. Okay? Because if you're doing good and you're being kind and generous, you're loving other persons. Okay? So yun naman. Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so much, Sir Dom, okay, for a very nice comment and also some interjections that have given to the presentation of the group about the Gospel of John. Um, I will just go some technicalities and I want you to answer me, okay, sincerely. Okay, one is what is your hypothesis?
Sir,
Yes,
hello?
please. Yes, please.
Sir, our hypothesis is there is a significant difference between religion and social ethics in 21st century that can be considered as why it is considered to be separate entity.
Okay, and it suggests your title dichotomous beliefs. Okay, because you are considering a significant difference between beliefs and okay in religion and social ethics. Then what becomes your findings? What is your conclusion? Pakiulit, hindi ko
Yes,
narinig,
sir.
nawala ako.
Yung conclusion po namin suggests that there should be no significant difference between the two po.
Okay, so kung yun ang nagiging conclusion ninyo, uh, does it follow that you need also to revise your title? Because the
No,
title
sir.
must speak about the content up to the conclusion.
The title po kasi is Dichotomous Beliefs Between Religion and Social Ethics in the
Yes,
21st century po.
if it is dichotomous, it means to say that there should be a
There's two
significant
sides.
difference between religion and social ethics. But the way that you present is that uh, the way of loving, as well as the commandment to love, as well as the ethics, which is considering about good works, must be seen as one and the same, no? But
Yes, yes
and
po.
in your hypothesis, you say that there is no what is that? Is it anal? There is a significant, no? There's a significant um, shall we say, difference between religion and social ethics, okay, beliefs between religion and social ethics. That is your hypothesis, which is an alternative one. You did not go for a null hypothesis, and your conclusion is actually something that there is no significant shall we say change of, okay, there is no significant difference of beliefs between religion and social ethics. Okay, if that would be your shall we say conclusion, it follows that you need also to change your title. Okay, because if you shall we say stick in your title and your investigation is now something that in opposition with your title, okay, kailangan mong mamili doon. Are you going to have another round of research just to prove your title, or you shall we say change your title because it is proven to be not the accurate title for the conclusion or the finding that you have gotten from your investigation? Ano ang mas preferable nyo ngayon?
Sir,
Changing the title or not changing
yung
the title?
in the conclusion po kasi, yung,
Mm,
yung first part po,
mm,
nakasaad po doon na there is, it is very evident and very rampant that there is a difference in between religion and social ethic in the 21st century. And we
mm,
are saying that there should be
mm.
no difference. It is should po, not there is not.
Why do
So
you,
what I'm saying is,
why do you conclude, where do you base your shall we say, first part of the conclusion that there should be a difference between religion and social ethics?
No, I'm not saying there should be po. I'm saying that there is na po.
That there
Because it's
is.
very evident naman po. Yes po.
There is
In the 21st century,
in
in
the
our
first
beliefs po.
century. Okay, there is.
Yes po. But
Pero,
not,
ang sabi nyo is dapat hindi.
opo.
Okay. So, kung yun ang investigation, lumabas sa investigation ninyo na there is a significant change in the beliefs between religion and social ethics in the 21st century,
Yes po.
why do you need to insist that there should be no difference?
That answers to our ano po, recommendation po. Because
No, no,
having living,
ang tinatanong ko lang is yung conclusion mo na. Do not go to the recommendation because you're talking about two parts. The first part is there is, the second part is there should be no. Okay.
yes.
Ang tanong ko, bakit kailangan mong i-oppose yung first part by coming up with the second part? Kasi kung may ano talaga, may difference talaga at 'yun ang nakuha mo sa pag-iimbestiga mo, bakit kailangan mo sang i-oppose? Yun
Because
kasi
it's
ang doon
unethical.
doon ako na doon ako na confuse kasi you have done already the study and it uh, it boils down into the conclusion na there is no difference of beliefs between religion and social ethics in the first century. Okay, and that is based on the study that you have gathered. Okay, you have investigated already that thing. My confusion is why you should have to come up with a part 2 which is in opposition to the part 1. Have you uh,
Kasi po it's
yes, go
unethical
ahead.
po.
It is.
Unethical po. Because ano po, our findings suggest that we are living dualistic life po. Inside the church, we are religious, but outside, we are not. We are being very unethical in terms of of conforming to our social norms po. That's why we suggest that we should consider that there should be no dichotomy between the two.
Hindi ko maintindihan. Nahirapan akong intindihin yun. Okay? Kasi una, hear this, no? In the first part, you're trying to, shall we say, look at religion and social ethics and you say there is a difference. Meaning to say there's a dichotomy between, shall we say, beliefs between religion and social ethics na hindi sila magkatugma. That is what you mean to say by difference or dichotomy. Okay? Dichotomy. No? So, pag sinabi mong dichotomy, dalawang bagay yan. Isang bagay belonging to religion,
Size.
isang bagay, another na bagay belonging to social ethics. Okay? And in your first part of the conclusion is you say that there is really, you affirm your title, okay, that there is a difference, okay, and it also affirms your hypothesis, your alternative hypothesis that there is a difference, okay, or there is a dichotomy of belief between religion and social ethics. And kaya nga na-conclude nyo yung first part na yan. Pag i-interject mo kasi yung sasabihin mo na may dichotomy kasi mga religious tayo, naniwala tayo kay God, pero on the outside, okay, on the inside, okay, is hindi naman. Para bang nagkaplastikan. No, hindi pwedeng sabihin mo lang na nagkaplastikan kasi ang pagsabi natin na nagkaplastikan na parang ito dapat yung nangyayari, okay, na dapat walang dichotomy pero iba naman yung pinapakita natin which is the moral thing, it would become subjective, okay? The study that you have done in the first part is objective because you source it from the many, shall we say, authors, okay, including the Bible, including other journals. Kaya nga, ang tanong ko is, if you have established already that there is a dichotomy, why is there a need for you to oppose it? Is there another part of your study that really opposes your first part? Kasi kung wala kayong binabasihan at parang feeling nyo lang na dapat wala talagang dichotomy, dapat pinakita nyo na sa related literature na walang dichotomy, walang difference. Doon pa lang is pinagsasalungat mo na lang yung dalawa. Okay, may nagsabi na may dichotomy. Okay? Sino to? Okay, lagay sa overview of contending views. Tapos, babanatan mo ngayon ay may nagsabi na walang dichotomy. Babanatan mo ngayon. You have to analyze now the two contending views. Okay? And it is your analysis that would be your contribution to the discussion about beliefs between religion and social ethics. Yung ganon, ang problema is parang
Nandun
you
po
run
siya
first.
sa
Okay, go ahead.
overview of
You
content.
show.
Andun po siya sa overview of contending views na nagsasalungat po dun sa first part ng conclusion namin.
Yun na nga, kung nandun kasi
Yung
yun,
according
kung nandun yun sa first part na merong pagsasalungat na doon, ang pinoproblema ko ngayon is paano nangyari na humantong kayo rin, no? Sa there is a dichotomy. Kasi kung titingnan natin, the way that Sir Dom is trying to establish the act of love and modeling love from Christ is actually doing ethics already. So, though it talks about a religious figure because Christ is the subject of religion, pero what Christ has done is not just concerning about religion. Actually, he did not create religion. What he had created is actually just a modeling of how a human being, not just Catholics, okay, not just the Jews, to do good, and to do good is just to love thy neighbor. And that is already ethics. That is already morality. So in that sense, religion in terms of, shall we say, doing the good thing, and ethics concerning about the good thing are just one and the same. Kaya hindi ko alam kung saan nagkakamali along the way para kung nangyari na you have presented the contending views, you end up into saying in the conclusion that there is no that there is a significant difference in terms of beliefs between religion and social ethics. Hindi ko makita kung saan doon ang nag-disconnect para humantong kayo sa ganon, para yung
Yung
first
sa
part
ano po,
nyo
sir.
ay salungatin nyo and to say hindi dapat na meron kasi wala dapat.
Yung last part po ng body po namin.
So meron kayo presentation na parang seemingly may dichotomy tapos in reality wala pala. May ganun ba na transition?
Opo, yung sa third part po ng ano namin. Kasi po, yung methodology po namin is exegesis, then ano po, analysis po ng society's behavior po. Naka, ano po siya sa third part po ng body.
Oh, sige. I hope kasi I have read your paper. Okay, I will review it again, okay, for another round, okay, to see the flow, okay, the transition of what you say two-part conclusion, okay? Kasi pag sinabi mo okay, kasi pag sinabi mong conclusion kasi it cannot be two parts. Dapat isa lang talaga 'yon. The two-part thing must be seen in the body, not in the conclusion. Pero sige, maybe this is a rare case. I will look into your claim of the two-part conclusion. Okay? Thank you so much for the, shall we say, for the presentation and tackling about the Gospel of John. Thanks so much, presenters. Now we will move to the second paper to be presented by the group of Maki, Avi, Mark, Mikaela, and Vince, Samantha. Their paper is entitled Religious Diversity, Challenges Experienced by College Students. Presenters, the virtual floor is yours now.
Sir,
Yes, please.
pwede daw po bang kayo po yung mag-play?
Sige, anong
Holy
niya?
Group po.
Holy Group. Sige,
Apo,
hanapin ko. Holy Group. Dala nga. Holy... Ay, tara. Okay, do you see my screen now?
Yes po.
Okay, let us start.
Pluralism and diversity is vitally important to one's college experience because it will help an individual prepare for the real world. And particularly, we're going to talk about religious diversity and the challenges it poses on college students. Religious diversity is the fact that there are significant differences in religious beliefs and practices among people. Correspondingly, religious diversity often leads to conflict and challenges among groups of people. It is an important aspect of diversity often treated unimportant in the efforts of promoting widespread diversity in higher education, unlike the attention they give to race, ethnicity, and gender aspects of campus diversity. Exposure to religious diversity is powerful and contributes to students' learning. For one, it touches students to search for their meaning and purpose, thus offering a possibility of deeper learning. In addition, it provides a way to share some of the main values and behaviors that describe one's own life. Statement of the problem. This paper seeks to identify and understand the challenges college students have to face when religious diversity is present in their community, which involves students having different sets of religious beliefs and practices. It also seeks to help those students who feel oppressed and discriminated against because of their religion. Likewise, this study aims to present solutions to the said challenges, as these could affect students' individual identities and how students think, act, and treat each other. Inclusively, these solutions involve fostering reciprocal awareness and respect so that every student feels accepted as an equal in terms of rights and dignity.
Hypothesis. This study hypothesized that fostering reciprocal awareness and respect regarding every individual religion is a necessity in achieving a well-diverse environment, particularly an educational institution wherein every student feel accepted as an equal in terms of rights and dignity. Methodology. This paper is a qualitative study focused on examining the challenges religious diversity poses on college students. It is ethnographic in approach as it seeks to discuss and identify religious characteristics and its involvement in the diversity of higher education institutions. In addition, it is also a phenomenological which aim to describe the diversity of religious culture, beliefs, and practices, tend to create a critical interpretations in order to build a complex ideas of understanding regarding the challenges it poses to college students. The collection of data involves gathering and reviewing related literature. These are then analyzed through content analysis, which required retrieving meaningful information from a document to serve its purpose in this study. Thematic analysis is also used to identify patterns from collected literature and its significance to identifying challenges faced by college students regarding religious difference.
Review of related literature. Correlated literature and other peer-reviewed outlets can provide a greater understanding of the principles of religious diversity in the context of the college community in terms of challenges and opportunities. Religious diversity, challenges, and opportunities in the college classroom. Han advocated that we all have much to learn from different religious traditions. Along with Michelle Lilwica, a professor in religion, agreed with Han and that most of her students redeem religious diversity as anything that deviates from their religion's norm. Studying diverse religions is a wonderful way for students to discover that one need not to subscribe to a spiritual worldview in order to appreciate its meaning in the lives of those who hold it dearly. It is also an effective way for students to cultivate the kind of intellectual empathy they need to take seriously the views of others. The case for religious diversity. According to Chu 2018, the benefits of embracing and accepting other people's deeper beliefs has never been easy for everyone. People often focus on the stem of the problems due to the reason that when people are talking about others' superficial looks and their faith tradition, it is very easy to have troubles with ideas that people don't usually practice. And as he discovered in his doctoral research, religious and spiritual conversations can be cultivated as a source of opportunity when freely understood in the workplace. Schools and campuses today are made up of diverse groups of students, including those from a variety of religious and spiritual backgrounds. Religious diversity affects every individual, as different religious practices may dictate medical and dietary restrictions, clothing choices, rituals and observances, participation in school events, and absences during holidays.
Managing religious diversity on campus, the role of student affairs. According to Ebu Patel and Mary Ellen Gaze, the historic point of view in the higher education is that there are reasons that engaging in religious identity on campus has proved elusive. They said that not long ago, many scholars have argued that religion is irrelevant. This norm of non-belief in higher education poses a persistent challenge in engaging religion and religion identities on campus. On the other hand, the ongoing importance of religion, presenting critical contributions in breaking down the barriers and providing models for engaging religion in higher education, various risks of not giving importance to higher education were also presented by the researchers. These are the following. First, we risk not adequately meeting students' needs. Second, risk of failing to prepare students for lives in a religious diverse world. Third, risk of ongoing conflicts and a religious identity in campus communities. Fourth, risk of missing educational opportunities for students around religion. Religious diversity in schools and addressing the issues. As stated by Salend in 2008 and Taylor and Whittaker in 2009, good collaboration and communication with students, families can strengthen the connection between schools and home and help schools identify and address religion issues that affect student performance. Nowadays, schools have a huge impact on the students in terms of their variety of religious backgrounds. Religious beliefs and practices are the source of support and learning for students. They create divisions, conflicts, and challenges that educators need to address. Addressing religious diversity in schools is a continuously changing aspect of educational policies and procedures, and new programs, initiatives, lawsuits, and legislation are emerging on such issues. They also suggest that to learn more about promoting religious diversity, educators may participate in a number of professional development programs. Body. This paper seeks to help those students who feel oppressed and discriminated against because of their religion, particularly in higher education. Likewise, this study aims to present solutions to the said challenges, as these challenges could affect students' individual identities and how students think, act, and treat each other. To identify and understand the challenges college students have to face when religious diversity is present in their community, which involves students having different sets of religion beliefs and practices. The researchers have thoroughly selected two important challenges religion's diversity poses on college students. First, failing to prepare the students for lives in a religious diverse world. Students, aside from their own homes, are also molded in the four corners of their classroom. The importance of having a good environment where one can be understood and respected is an effective place where students can truly hone their skills and character in preparation for facing the real world. Some higher education institutions underestimate the importance as to how religious diversity poses threats to students and affect their school performance. Students are the future. They are the generation who will continue to make a difference outside of school. Therefore, preparing them for that future comes in an environment they spend most of their time at, which is at school. Schools greatly impact an individual's character building and intellectual development, which is why interactions inside the institution is valuable to one's overall preparation for the real world. In calculating the importance of religious diversity, an educational institution can greatly shape one's character. It will help students be understanding and learn from outside of their own beliefs and traditions, and will also help them to be open in terms of being corrected and open to empathizing with those around them. Studying diverse religion is a wonderful way for students to discover that one need not subscribe to a spiritual worldview in order to appreciate its meaning in the lives of those who hold it dearly. It is also an effective way for students to cultivate the kind of intellectual empathy they need to take seriously the views of others. Second, ongoing conflicts around religious identity in campus communities. Conflicts around religious identities are not new to our ears, and it increases over time. Students of different religions often receive oppressive treatments and discrimination. This results in difficult communication among students. It poses threats for their safety and security. It disables them to fully acquiring what they are out to do inside school. And for most instances, issues like this do not gain attention from the school. The situation is really important to address to avoid conflicts and discrimination among students. Altogether, understanding religious differences among students may be very useful in attaining acceptance to an equal in terms of right and dignity. To cater each student's need in higher education institution, giving importance on aspects such as racial, ethnic, color differences, and mostly religious diversity that accepts students are close in one step towards a community free from oppression and discrimination. Inclusively presented below is a solution involving fostering reciprocal awareness and respect to that every student feel accepted as an equal in terms of rights and dignity. Third, urge on having religion as a mandatory subject. Having religion as a mandatory subject in higher education will be beneficial in understanding religious differences. It will aid in appreciating every individual's belief, traditions, cultures, and even practices. Having access to basic knowledge about different religions will be useful in understanding where each student is coming from, thus avoiding conflicts regarding religious diversity in the institution and attaining acceptance and equal treatment.
In light of the study findings, a number of conclusions can be drawn. Religious diversity is the fact that there are significant differences in religious beliefs and practices among people. Correspondingly, religious diversity often leads to conflict and challenges among groups of people. It is an important aspect of diversity, often treated and important in the efforts of promoting widespread diversity in higher education, unlike the attention they give to race, ethnicity, and gender aspect of campus diversity. Exposure to religious diversity is powerful and contributes to students' learning. For one, it teaches students to search for their meaning and purpose, thus offering a possibility of deeper learning. In addition, it provides a way to share some of the main values and behaviors that describes one's own self. The challenges faced by college students regarding religious diversity on campus is evident and may disrupt students' academic performance. Challenges such as conflicts around religious identity in campus communities, which, if tolerated, creates a community of oppression and discrimination, leading to failure to prepare students for a real diverse world. As stated by QU 2018, the benefits of embracing and accepting other people's deeper belief has never been easy for everyone, but in order for an individual to shine and to reach its full potential, he or she must have the freedom to show its capability and to gain the improvement needed to attain a good life. As indicated by Richard Light 2001, one of the most effective ways students learn about difference was through interfaith discussions. In order for everyone to understand the importance of religious differences, is to teach them knowledge about the challenges that students face. The studies presented seek to help students to overcome the challenges that are hindering them from achieving their dreams. Arguing on having religion as a mandatory subject is presented by the researchers as a solution to inculcating the importance of religion. Recommendations: KED, they should inculcate religion as a mandatory subject in the curriculum in higher education for students to learn more about different religions and grasp the importance of understanding differences as a crucial part of living. This argues them to have a plan to create school activities, events, and seminars that will teach the young that every religion matters and every individual, despite of the differences they might have, should be allowed the same freedom and acceptance as those of the same students who practice the same religion. Teachers, they should initiate studying religious diversity in order to take part, contribute, and share knowledge to their students. In addition, teachers should conduct debates and discussion regarding religious diversity for students to better understand what is innate for them to be in a diverse world. School officials, they should give importance to religious diversity as much as they give importance to race, culture, and ethnicity differences aspect of diversity in the campus. Student, they should remain open to understand differences and not use it as a reason to discriminate or look down on someone else just because of their different practices, culture, and religion.
Thank you so much for the nice paper about religious diversity and the challenges encountered by college students. Okay, let us give the floor now to our panelist, Sir Dom.
Okay, thank you very much. Talagang tuwan-tuwa si Mark sa kanyang report no. Smile na smile siya nung tinitingnan niya yung sarili niya. That's good. You're happy with yourself. Good. So, religious diversity is a reality, especially in our university. Okay. But have you seen any problem with students? Are they felt? Do they feel that they are discriminated? Or do you know students in our university that felt that somehow they are discriminated? Pero ba kayo nakita mga estudyante sa atin sa CEU na na-discriminate?
Nakasubok na ba kayo ng mag-college ng face-to-face sa CEU? Hindi pa?
Wala pa ata.
Hindi pa, no? Okay.
Okay.
In classes, online, have you experienced what Sir Dom is saying? Sabi ni Vince, wala daw. Umiiling-iling si Vince. Si Mark,
Wala pa.
naka ano ka Mark? Naka wala rin.
Wala yun, wala din. In your, sa senior high ninyo, naka-experience ba kayo nun? Have you witnessed, you have known in the senior high when you have your face-to-face, meron bang na-discriminate because of religion?
I don't know po if it's considered as discriminating, but I myself is ano po, agnostic. So during my senior high years, I was often told to like just pray, or if I join a community that is religious enough, I'd be converted into one of them.
So that came from your professor or your co-students?
Both po.
Sa both. Okay, o nga naman. They're trying
Where in
to...
CU? Senior high in CU?
CEU Las Piñas po.
Okay. Sige, sige.
Okay. So, how did you feel when you were somehow forced or somehow insisted to have a different kind of belief?
Ano po, it feels weird lang, but I don't like try to get it on my head po. So it doesn't affect me that much.
Okay, that's good. So, by now, and it seems that to me, there is already an openness for different students from different denomination, different religion, has a wider tolerance or acceptance of other religion, because somehow we are, because of information that we have, especially in the website, we can easily able to learn that there are religion different from us, and we come to know their practices, and somehow able to also to learn that we are not different from one another, because all are really trying their best to see their purpose in life and to see the meaning of life. So yung pinakaano doon. So, wala pa kasi but you have seen already, is there any in your high school or in your senior high studies that they have already such gathering that prosper religious diversity? Meron na kayo na attendance sa school activity ninyo when you're in the senior high or in the high school that have a gathering of sharing of different faith?
Wala pa talaga, no?
Wala pa talaga.
Hindi pa kasi sa bagay.
So this is a very good topic, because it is really already coming to the awareness of especially the youth. You are already the millennials, and you are well versed on the website and globalization, so you are more at ease with the community of the world globally, so it's very easy to you to somehow accept this kind of diversity. So in a way, you have already mentioned that there are problems with some students being discriminated because of their religion, but now you have testified that you have not really able to experience that. Okay, sino ba sa inyo hindi Christian? The reporters are all Christian?
Hindi, si Kyle, hindi sa Christian kasi no, agnostic.
Si Kyle.
Mm. Ikaw,
Okay.
Maki, anong religion mo? Maki?
Catholic po, sir.
Catholic.
Catholic ka. Kala ko iba kasi yung forma ng buhok mo eh. Masyado kang, kala ko Koreano ka na ano eh, na K-pop eh. So, yun ano nun. I like how you focus on the topic of religious diversity and also encourage everyone to accept people with different religion, because that is a very good topic, because formerly in our own teenage here we really hold on to our religion to the point of defending it. By defending it, we must be prepared to have a debate and win in the debate to prove that our religion is the best and the truth. And still now, you can see some programs in our social media, particularly in TV, that religion are debating from one another and proving that they are the one who holds the truth and the other are misled. They're living in a lie. They're living in a false teaching. Okay, but now in your generation is more embracing, inclusive. Okay, so you are really able to somehow be a part in global community to be accepting. So it's a very nice. It's a very nice very nice topic. Pero sa inyo, what particular actions that you can do to further show others that having different religion is 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 really what is good and what is best for each one, as a student, as a people, and as a neighbor to one another. So what else in your practical practical ways to educate other people, to encourage them to accept different religion? Anong practical ways na pwede mong gawin? Because in your action, in a particular small action, that you can already teach people and inspire people to accept different religion. So, ano yung mga particular actions na maano ninyo, recommend ninyo? How about you, si Vince medyo shy type ang dating eh. Anong masasabi mo, Vince?
Siguro po yung pwede pong action na pwede namin gawin as a Gen Z po is, ngayon po kasi sobrang lawak na po ng social media and we can communicate with one another po using it. So para pong pwede po siyang maging way to share with one another po yung mga religious beliefs namin para po mas maging knowledgeable enough sila and mas maging open po yung mind nila to accept po yung other religion.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes? How about you, Abby? Si Abby po pwedeng newscaster. Okay na okay itsura niya, parang isa sa mga newscaster. Ano masasabi mo, Abby?
Pwede rin pong through debates. It might not end well since debate po siya, but at least both parties would be sharing their ideas, and with that you can acquire what they believe in, what they practice.
Okay, thank you very much, Abby. Medyo excited na rin magsalita si Michaela eh. Ikaw naman, Michaela, ano ba gusto mo feel na feel mo parang gusto mo talaga magsalita eh. Sige, ano gusto mo sabihin?
Siguro po pakikipag-interact po sa iba't ibang tao, halimbawa po sa school, parang i-include nyo po sila sa group nyo para po malaman nyo, ma-appreciate nyo po lalo yung ibang religious beliefs and practices.
Okay, thank you very much and congratulations to your report. Thank you, Sir Well. Is your announcement. Ano
Th-
po?
Thank you so much, Sir Dom, for giving nice inputs and also some comments to the paper presented by the group. Okay, konti lang tong sa akin. Okay, one is the subject that we have, religion, history, and text, is a kind of subject that caters most of the major religions in the world. But there is one kind of religion there that I cannot say that there's that inculcation of the belief of God. No? Um, this is Buddhism. Okay, and we already said that Buddha is not really a god, but a result of a certain process. Okay, coming from the reality of suffering, then ending up with the nirvana or moksha. Um, I'm just so concerned about what Kyle was actually telling us about becoming or being an agnostic, because agnosticism is not really something like um, denying the presence of God or God itself. No, it is just so happens that people like her do not just include God in the formula. Okay, parang if I want to do good, I want to do good, and not depending whether or not I have a God. Okay, that is agnosticism. Okay, which is different from atheism, because atheism is a, shall we say, a deliberate denial of a God. Buddhism is actually not touching about God. No, it just they just have this kind of principle. Buddhists have this kind of principle that they have to liberate themselves, reaching the nirvana without depending whether or not they have a God. Please remember that Buddhism is a kind of religion that sprout from Hinduism, no? And Hinduism has Brahma, okay, as the ultimate reality, and this Brahma has three gods, no? We have the yeah, we have the Brahman, okay, we have Vishnu, okay, and we have Shiva. Okay, so it cannot be said to be polytheist kind of religion, because meron namang ano, pero doon sa uh, isang kind of religion na nanggaling sa kanila, really some sort of as agnosticism, no? Wala lang talagang pakialam kung may God, basta gawa lang sila ng tama. Okay, and I think um, this is important. Okay, I do not know if you remember what Dalai Lama has said when he was interviewed. Okay, because this was creating actually a controversy, and even others praising Dalai Lama, and others were also somewhat ridiculing his answer to the question of a certain journalist. Okay, ang tanong kasi is ganito, um, what do you think of other members of other religions aside, okay, other than your religion? Sabi ni Dalai Lama, I do not wish for members of other religion to be converted in my religion. I do not wish for a Muslim to become Buddhist, a Christian to become Buddhist, a Hindu to become Buddhist, a Buddhist to become Hindu, okay, or an Islam to become a Christian. What becomes significant of his answer when he further said that I wish that each and every member of the religion that he or she belongs to would become the best member of that religion. If you're a Buddhist, be the best Buddhist you can be. If you are a Muslim, be the best Muslim you can be. If you're a Christian, be the best Christian you can be. And I think this is the essence of interfaith dialogue, no? You've started, your paper is actually the first half of the completion of what should be the world with different religions. You've started with religious diversity, and you encountered challenges as college students. But there's the other part of it na palagi nyo nang tinanong sa akin bakit yung module 6 is parang module number 2. At sabi ko, sige, i-answer nyo na lang yung module 2, ilipat nyo sa module 6. Okay? Sino bang gumawa ng module 6, bro? Maybe kailangan nating i-evaluate yun, no? Kasi next time, kasi magkapareho yung module 2 at saka module 6, interfaith dialogue. The second part of religious diversity is actually ecumenical part, interfaith dialogue. And we cannot go into interfaith dialogue. I would like to go back to Kyle's statement kanina. If you engage in debate, hindi talaga, kasi pataasan, pahabaan ng ihe pagdating sa debate. Okay? Wala talagang maanuhan yan if we come up with debate and we talk about religion. Maybe other things like what Michaela is saying to us na involve many members of religion into a certain group because it is involving in a certain project for a certain goods for humanity, like for example may calamity, no? Tapos i-gather mo yung different members of religion, i-gather mo yung mga Muslim, ihalo-halo mo yung mga Muslim, ihalo-halo mo yung mga Kristiyano, ihalo-halo mo yung Iglesia ni Cristo, ihalo-halo mo yung mga agnostics, okay? Tapos hayaan mo sila na magplano paano sila makakatulong sa victims of calamities. In that way, they become one. In that way, religious diversity is not a hindrance to interfaith dialogue and to a certain good to effect something for the community. Okay? Hindi lang kasi natin magawa ngayon kasi nasa pandemic tayo. Pero I am actually planning, okay, we are actually planning na once maybe in your lifetime in CEU, you will be immersed in a certain community regardless of what religion do you have. Okay? Kaso lang, hindi natin magawa ngayon. Kaya ang ano lang natin is parang theoretical lang ang ano natin. Not so much about how to translate the theory into something that that is practical, no? Kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin ko sa inyo na punta kayo ng ano sa ganito, kayo lang. Hindi, kasi pandemic ngayon. What we can do is just to suffice ourselves with theories, no? And later on maybe we can translate the theories into practices. Okay? So yun lang, no? I am so happy that even though most of you do not encounter this kind of challenge of religious diversity, okay, in CEU, that you're always concerned about other college students. Saan nyo ba nakita to? Sino bang college students na pinatutungkalan nyo ba dito? College students ng buong mundo or college students ng CEU? Kasi yung title ninyo. Or it is just a general title to include all students in the world, all college students rather. Kasi I am thinking na meron kayong inspiration na merong grupo ng college students belonging to a certain university or college na napakalakas yung religious diversity. Maybe hindi nakapag-transition into interfaith dialogue. Yun kasi ang nasa isip ko. Meron ba kayong inspiration dito sa paper na to na nakita nyo na talagang ang lakas ng religious diversity na nakapag-hinder into the studies of the college students? Meron kayong inspiration na nakitaan ito? Or bumaba si...
Wala po. We just decided na since it's evident in every country po na to choose this topic.
Okay, so parang nag-general statement na lang kayo. Okay? And I'm just glad to know that you are able to get enough sources for this matter. Okay? And okay, congratulations. This is a good paper to start the first half of the whole project about ecumenism, no? Kasi ang kabila nito is interfaith dialogue talaga. And this is a good one. Okay? Thank you so much for this paper. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Salamat po.
Okay, medyo lumampas tayo sa break. Dediretso na lang ba tayo or kailangan nyo ng kahit 5 minutes na break? What is the feel of the class? Do we need a 5-minute break or diretso tayo sa next presenter? Diretso na tayo, no? Diretso na tayo para kung ano mang mangyari nito is malaman natin kung we need to extend the conference or we have to finish it today. Okay? For the third presenter, okay, the group to present, they have to present their paper entitled The Standpoint of Christianity to Marriage. Group to present this paper, the virtual floor is yours.
Good day, everyone. We are the group of children of God, and we will present our paper entitled The Standpoint of Christianity to Marriage.
In the Christian religion, marriage is a gift by God to a woman and a man from different families who have pledged to eternal love. It is a sacred public promise that binds the couple together through love, support, and sacrifice. And it strengthens the faith between man and God because it is believed that in the God's presence, He gives His blessing to the couple. Marriage in Christianity started with Adam and Eve. As God created Adam, He had thought that man is not good to be alone, and with it, He created Eve as his partner. As God created man and woman, He has blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over every living thing that moves on the earth." With that in mind, the Christians believe that marriage is a powerful symbol of partnership with God. Even though the importance of marriage to the Christian religion, some people will only choose a civil wedding since it is legally binding, while a Christian marriage is not. Civil marriage is a non-religious, legal marriage ceremony prescribed by a government official. It meets its requirement by the eyes of the law and not the means of religion. Although has its advantages, civil marriage should not be practiced without Christian ceremonies and the Christian faith.
Rationale. This term paper discusses the standpoint of the Christian community on the sanctity of marriage. Marriage has been part of the culture of humanity for the longest time. However, weddings in the Christian faith have been discredited for dozens of times in the modern world. The researchers have chosen this topic to improve the knowledge and understanding regarding marriage, and to shed light on the importance of marriage in the Christian religion. The researchers want to prove that civil marriage should not be practiced without the Christian weddings in the Christian faith. For Christians, marriage is a holy relationship not only to their spouse, but to God Himself. Moreover, it is a way for their relationship to be valid in the eyes of the Lord. The researchers have cited sources from the Bible and other correlated literature to help in disseminating information.
Christian religion believes that marriage is a gift by God, though we should not be taken for granted. As a husband, we should be taking care of her family and doing her responsibility, and the wife must always help her and support her because the family will be more stronger. Getting married is a big responsibility because the sanctity of marriage is a demonstration of love and lifelong commitment between the two people. Marriage is almost a human institution. The covenant of marriage is entered between a man and a woman who vows their love and fidelity to each.
The general problem of the study is that the church and the state have two different viewpoints on marriage. The main difference between the two is the setting, religious and non-religious. The church maintains a traditional view in marriage based on philosophical and theological views, which poses a potential conflict between these different conceptions. With that said, the goal of the study is to know the take of Christians on the issue of civil marriage, of sacramental marriage. This might be a hurdle to study, as some Christians might not be open to sharing their insight to civil marriage. Another hurdle this study would face is the lack of ability to get information through first-hand accounts, or rather, face-to-face, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly is the lax nature of the topic itself, as it isn't something people talk about most often.
In this paper, being part of the Christian religion, marriage should always be done inside the church, since marriage is the affirmation of love and commitment of two human beings, and the church symbolizes the home of God and the faith of every Christian.
Methodology. The researchers came up with the idea of using the descriptive method to know the standpoint of Christianity to marriage because it defines the data and characteristics of the population that is being studied. And also, this is a qualitative research that will help the researchers to know and understand the person's beliefs and opinions.
Review of related literature. The correlated literature and other reviewed sources will give a better view of grasping the importance of the standpoint of Christianity to marriage. Marriage in the Christian faith. According to the article by Focus on the Family 2020, marriage is for believers and non-believers, as it is part of the common grace that God has given to all humans. It is like the sunshine and the rain that falls to the unjust and just. Matthew 5:45. The Bible states, marriage was created from the beginning of creation, so it was founded before religion, which means it can be beneficial for non-believers. That is why the government paved the way in preserving the institution of marriage as is traditionally understood. Nevertheless, Christians should consider a church marriage so that their union will be valid in the eyes of God, as it is believed that God is present in the holy matrimony. As a believer of God, a Christian wedding in the Christian setting is a great opportunity for a man and a woman to confess their faith in Christ and seal their commitment to one another. God's aim for marriage in the Christian religion. According to the article by Family Life titled Embracing God's Purpose for Marriage, the Christian wedding is significant to God as it shows the world His love for man and women. Marriage becomes the means for a married couple to demonstrate their love for God, as it is God's plan for marriage to be a holy state of mutual service to Him. God established marriage as a covenant and not as a contract. Malachi 2:14, Proverbs 2:16-17, as it implies that the covenant is based on trust between parties, endless responsibility, and cannot be broken under any circumstances. Which means that the covenant of marriage between man and woman is a complete and permanent commitment. Acting as God's plan for marriage provides the framework for a successful marriage relationship. Marriage becomes a holy endeavor rather than dependent on financial status, bearing children, or securing specific employment. Being able to fulfill God's plan for marriage should trigger scholarly men and women to develop Christ-like character. Advantages of the Christian marriage. According to the article by Jennifer Anderson, 2003, God in the Marital Triangle and Phenomenological Study of the Influence of the Christian Faith in the Marriage Relationship, state that Christian marriage enhances spiritual understanding of the origin and design of marriage. It means that marriage was created by God as a lifetime commitment made to man and women and God Himself. Furthermore, it gives a spiritual understanding and experience of love as it stages trust, sacrifice, forgiveness, and unconditional love between the man and woman. Moreover, spiritual experience of God is an active participant in the holy matrimony, as it is believed in the Christian faith that God Himself gives His blessings to the couple and holds their marriage together.
Based on the research made from the study, it concludes that most Christians prefer church marriage than civil marriage. The researchers then concluded that their religious background plays a big role in this decision. The following recommendations are suggested. First, the church should be the one in authority, as most Christians prefer it over civil marriage, as well as it is in their jurisdiction of the church to take on religious matters and not the state. Second, the church should also recognize or take into consideration people who choose civil over church marriage, at is in their right. In this way, the church and the state could work together without one conflicting the other. Lastly, our society should have a greater understanding about this issue and realize the importance of marriage, that it's something sacred and not just some event we go to.
Thank you so much for a very nice presentation of your paper entitled Standpoint of Christianity to Marriage. Let us now have our panelist, Professor Joe Dominic de Guzman. Hindi ka marinig, sir. Wala pa rin. Hindi ka nakamute, pero ba't hindi ka maririnig? Paki-unmute mo na. Yun. Wala pa rin. Nangyari sa mic mo. Wala pa rin, sir. Ako lang hindi nakarinig or kayo rin?
Kami rin.
Ayun. Ay, sandali. Sir Dom, go ahead. Wala talaga, sir. That is the disadvantage of technology, no? That is why we professors still prefer, um, shall we say, face-to-face class because um, one technicalities, okay, strikes or strike, ito yung problema. Paki-unmute.
Okay,
Yun,
can you hear me
oh.
na?
Anong nangyayari sa mic mo?
Baka napagod.
Sabihin mo,
Oh,
konti na lang, konti na lang.
konti na lang, kaya-kaya lang. Okay, concerning Christian marriage is very, very important. They're saying really, as you have your paper saying, this is the best Christian marriage because the binding of the husband and wives and fostering a family is really very, very enough. In the Christian marriage, is assured of having a good family. Why? Why is it Christian marriage is something very effective, and how does the Christian marriage is made effective in the relationship and the binding and the union that should not be broken, and the promise, or not only a promise but a covenant to have a good family. What makes it really said to be effective? What makes the Christian marriage very effective and very talaga, a promise of a lasting relationship?
Nasagot.
Ha?
Magsasagot na ba?
Oh, sagot na, sige. Okay na.
Kasi po is sa word po ng God, sinabi niya po is ang marriage po is not a contract but it is a covenant, which means it is unlimited responsibilities between both partners. So it is a complete and permanent commitment. So hindi siya napapaghiwalay no matter the circumstances, because pag nag-join na yung both flesh, it cannot be separated again.
Yeah, it cannot. But why is it there's a lot of Christian and Catholic marriage that really broke up, and still here in the Philippines, some Catholic lawmakers is already opting to legalize divorce in the Philippines?
Ano pa?
And if you're saying that really napakaano yan because andong ng covenant, di ba, sa promise to God. But doon naman sa but there are a lot of experiences, maraming mga Christian and Catholic marriage ay nagse-separate pa rin sila. In fact, a Catholic lawmakers is already pushing for divorce, legality of divorce in the Philippines. So what is lacking, or what is not fulfilled in the Christian marriage? Bakit naghihiwalay pa rin?
Sir, naghihiwalay pa rin po yung mga nag-undergo sa Christian marriage kasi po they broke yung promises po nila, yung covenant, yung testaments po nila. Kaya po pinupush din po ang divorce sa Philippines kasi dalawang bansa na lang po ang walang divorce aside from Vatican. So yung religion na nakuha po natin, hindi na po tayo na-keep up sa pag-evolve niya. So sa entire world po, dalawa na lang yung walang divorce, that's Vatican and Philippines. Pero yung Christianity po nakuha natin sa Spain, sa Spaniards po noon, pero in Spain po legal na po ang divorce. So hindi pa tayo nakakasabay sa sa evolution po ng religion natin. Kaya dapat
So ano kailangan pagtibayin sa Christian marriage?
Faith, sir.
What is that faith?
Yung faith po nila kay God na binigay po ni God as a gift yung marriage po para maging mas matibay po yung pagsasamahan at commitment din po sa isa't isa with God.
Ano yun? Paano nga? For sure, before they got married, they have the faith in God. They believe in God. Pero bakit naghihiwalay pa rin? I believe, ang Christian marriage is really will bind husband and wife forever. But what is missing? Faith is there. Naniniwala sila sa Diyos. Siguro sa sinasabi nga, maintindihan naman ng Diyos na we are not meant for one another, so okay lang kami mag-separate. Rather than stay together and we hate one another and we always fighting, it's better to separate so that we can live happily and to avoid any misery and to avoid children seeing us fighting.
kung present pa yung faith, sir, then most probably ang missing pa sa marriage is yung love po ng partners. Kaya yung love po ng partners sa isa't isa, yun po ang missing. Kung present pa yung faith nila sa Lord, pero hindi pa rin gumagana, then what's missing is love po between the partners.
Kasi yung love, medyo, ano yan, it will be challenge pag magkasama na kayo. Yung magandang mong asawa, pag magkasama na kayo, may putok pala pag nakasama mo. Tapos, nager pala. Tapos, ang lalaki, naku, kala mo perfect. Ayun pala, magkasama kayo, biglang uutot na malakas. Tapos, hindi marunong gumamit ng CR. Maasa rin babae. Yung lalo na sa toothpaste, lalo na yung upuan, hindi tinataas yung yung mga ganung simpleng bagay ba? Di ba? It's already, the cause of the conflict and to the point na hindi pala itong gusto ko eh.
Sir, I think acceptance po. Acceptance yung sa dalawang mag-asawa po, they need to accept their flaws.
Accept ko na nga na hindi siya para sa akin, nakita ko na eh. Di ba? Hindi ko nakita dati nung nagsama na kami. Accept ko na we are not meant for one another. Now, if that happens, what is the Christian faith will help you to continue to bind the husband and wife, binding them in a way that they will be able to be somehow happy with one another, even though with those flaws. Okay? Paano? Kasi ganda-ganda ng kasal nila, grabe, no? Mga choir pa. Ang galing pa ng Heavenly Father. After nun, di ba?
Tapos, pinaghandaan pa yung honeymoon abroad.
Kaya nga, honeymoon abroad, di ba? Yung mga ganung bagay.
Yun pala, after 1 month, yung partner ko pala umuutot pag pag natutulog kami, ang lakas ng hilig. Paano mo yan? Ha?
Tapos mukhang multo yung asawa niya, dami nilalagay sa mukha pagdating ng gabi. Di ba? Yung mga ganun So, how will you able to continue to have the relationship? What
Christian religion? I think the Christian religion can teach the couple about understanding and experiencing love.
How?
By forgiveness, trust, sacrifice, and unconditional love.
Okay. What else? May gusto sabihin si Joshua.
Ako po, try po. Kung ilalagay po nila si God sa center po ng buhay po nila, magagamit po nila yung mga teaching po ni God para mag-strengthen po yung family po nila.
Okay, very good, Joshua. Tama-tama yung pangalan mo, Joshua. The other name for Joshua is Jesus. Okay?
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus ibigay. So you saved the
Yehoshua
day.
in Aramaic. Yehoshua.
Joshua. Okay. So yun yan. One is to be really, must be a practicing Christian. Okay? Hindi yung Christian by name, nominal Christian. To be assured of a lasting relationship, a Christian, a person must first practice and understand the teaching of Christianity. And Christianity means to be like Christ. Okay, to be like Christ. And what is the meaning of being Christ? He is the Savior, okay, the Messiah, the one really anointed. At ano ginawa ni Jesus diyan? Jesus is really in the point of trying to love even those things that are somehow not so good. Yun na eh. Believing always in that love, no matter what. Okay? So, nandun yung self-sacrifice. Pinako siya sa krus. Anong oras siya pinako sa krus? Si Jesus, anong oras siya pinako sa krus?
2:45.
Anong sa inyo, anong oras pinako si Jesus sa krus? Hindi nyo mag-Holy Week na eh. Sabi ni Ivan, 3 o'clock, pero hindi 3 o'clock, quarter to 3. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi nakaganon si Jesus eh. Naka-stretch yung kamay niya.
Kung 3 o'clock yun.
Nakaganon yun. Naka-L. Mahirapan yun. So yun. Kasi doon makikita natin, hindi
class joke lang yan ha. Do not take it seriously.
Kasi yung talaga, you have to be not only informed but formed to be Christ-like. Formed like to be Christ-like. Okay. First of all, you must be truly loving. And truly loving is not asking what you want. Okay? But asking what is best for a relationship. Asawa ko ay 32 years old. Ako, 54 years old. Okay? Sinagot ko siya nung siya ay 27 years old. Pero, nagpakasal ako sa kanya last year lang. Kasi no choice na ako, ginalaw niya na ako eh. Kailangan niya ako panindigan. Okay? So, yun. I'm much older than her, pero minsan yung sinasabihan niya ako ng mga bagay-bagay, naaasar ako sa kanya, sabi ko, hayop tong ito ah. Mas marunong ko sa'yo, professor ako, nasasabihan mo ako ng ganyan. Pero from time to time, I really, my Christian disposition, and understand that I have to trust and I have to really try to understand my partner. I pray. Pag busit na talaga ako, prayer is being honest. Pag busit na talaga ako, Lord, tulungan mo ko, sasampalin ko nito, kaya nito. Eh, ako'y naiinis na. Kala mo kasi magaling to. Pero in the end, Lord, I wanted to have us to have a happy life. To love my partner. So, tulungan mo ko. Kung ako lang, ayoko na. Sanay na ako maging single, but I decided to get married to help me. So, I pray. Kaya, kahit mas matanda ako sa kanya, I pray to God na tulungan mo ako mag-sorry at magkaayusan kami. Minsan hindi sorry yung ginagawa ko. Minsan binibili ko yung paborito niyang pagkain. Tapos medyo yayakap ko siya. Hindi na ako naano sa topic na yun. Okay na. Kaya yun ang nag-ano. So, to have a successful marriage life, you have to be really formed to become a Christian. And to be a Christian means to be Christ-like. You must be like Jesus in loving. Okay? Kaya nga, the law given to us is to love one another as I have loved you. And to love really is to love perfectly. Now, no one is imperfect, and no one is perfect, but try your best and continue. That's why you have to have faith. Yung ang sinabi ni Ralph, totoo yan. Faith means continue believing, continue trusting in the ways and in the words and the way really Jesus relate to one another. Kaya nga sinasabi niya, you you must be like Jesus Christ in being faithful in loving to your husband and to your wife. And in your relationship, that your children will be inspired to love in how you have loved one another. So that's why it's a great uh, mission given to us. Okay? Start in the family. Kaya doon na doon. Christian marriage is not just having lucrative weddings, expensive venues, yung mga expensive reception is not. Dapat sa ang focus is really how to be Christ-like in your knowledge. To be truly be called a Christian marriage. You get married not because of what you will get. You're demanding what you will get from the other, but what you can give to the other. Kaya ng Christian. Jesus gave and gave until to death. To the point nakita na Jesus is really the person and the God who love us no matter what. So people continue to follow him. So that's a challenge. Christian marriage is not memorizing the doctrines and stating that you are the true church. No. Christian marriage is really promising to love like Jesus have loved. That's why in the Mass it is always said, do this in remembrance of me. Remember me how I love. Remember me how I relate. Remember me how I died. It's because for love. I lived and died and resurrected for love. Kaya mahal na mahal kayo ni Sir Nalang. Kaya papahirapan kayo mamaya para kayo matuto. Hindi naman. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Dom, for giving the input of what love must be for this paper, Standpoint of Christianity to Marriage. May i-highlight lang ako ng konti, tapos pupunta ako sa question ko, no? Tama yung sinabi ni Sir Dom kanina na it is a reality that Christian couples are ending up separated, divorced. Okay, and I would like also to go back to what Justine says na dalawa na lang ang walang divorce sa buong mundo, Vatican na lang at Pilipinas. For some, it is a source of dismay, sorrow, or maybe unpopularity. But if we really are into our faith and we understand the faith that we have for God, we must be so proud that in the whole world, aside from Vatican, we still remain a country without divorce. Why? Napakasimple kasi ang neto, pero ang hirap intindihin, no? I do not know if I have already given you a certain, shall we say, a lesson about the three acts of God. Tapos na, di ba? Sinabi ko na yon sa inyo. Condescending love, conciliatory compassion, and fidelity. Tama ba? Nasabi ko na sa inyo? O hindi pa?
Nasabi na po.
Oh, nasabi na. Okay? And these three can really make God tanga, di ba? Sinabi ko na rin. Okay. Now, in marriage kasi, class, okay, that is why the issue about marriage, sex, and sexuality are actually in Kosh 22. Okay? Because what you have started here as the nurturance of your faith in Kosh 21 must be brought into a certain level wherein you need to be, shall we say, immersed into the issues to which your faith must be questioned, and how you are going to respond to certain issues using your faith in God. Okay? Yun ang pinakaano ng Kosh 22. Okay. Um, sa marriage kasi, una is, when you're married, you are married to four entities. One, you're married to God. Okay? Second, you are married to the community to where you belong to during the time you are married. Third, you're married to the religion that both of you belong to, kung saan kayo nagpakasal. Okay? Pang-apat lang, class, na married ka sa spouse mo. Okay? Pang-apat lang. And if you're going to look at the three, God, the kind of love that God is giving to His people is a covenant. And marriage should be that kind of bond between God and His people. It is a covenant. That kind of covenant is extended to your spouse when you come into marriage. That is why in the Christian perspective, marriage is not a simple marriage, but it is matrimony. It is elevated into a sacrament. Why? Because it is holy. Because within that sacrament of matrimony, you can encounter the four: God, your community, your religion, and all these three believe that love must be a bonding of, shall we say, of an eternal contract, which is a covenant between God and His people. That is why when you come to matrimony with your partner, okay, hindi ka na pwedeng makawala doon. Okay? Kaya minsan pag nag-aaway kayo, huwag mong balikan yung kasalanan ng partner mo. Ang palagi mong balikan, yung bonding mo, yung covenant mo sa tatlo. Okay? Kaya nga minsan pag nag-aaway kami ng misis ko, okay, yung abot sa punto na galit, okay, na para bang sarap na sabihin, hiwalay na tayo. Okay? Sumasagi sa isip ko, teka muna, covenant pala to. Sige, balik mo na. Okay? At saka napaka-shallow yung sabihin mo, balik ka tayo kasi may anak tayo, kaya hindi tayo pwede. Napaka-shallow yun. Okay? Balik ka kasi you remember na may tatlo pa pala, at itong patatlo na to, hindi ka pwedeng mahiwalay dito. Okay? At saka tama si Sir Dom kanina, in a certain covenant that you enter into, wag mong tingnan, class, kung ano yung natatanggap mo. Kasi manlulumo, manghihina, at madidismaya ka lang. Titingnan mo ano yung makontribute mo, anong maibigay mo. Okay? Yun palagi, no? Na para bang si Christ, the model of our loving is Christ, no? Anong inano ni Christ? Ininsulto siya, pinahirapan siya, tinorture siya, pinatay siya. Before siya namatay, anong ginawa niya? Hindi niya tinitingnan kung ano yung natatanggap niya. Ang tinitingnan niya, ano yung opportunity na makapagbigay siya. That is why some Christians, especially in the Catholic tradition, are elevated into the life of becoming a saint. Why? Kasi yung pagiging santo is nakikita nila palagi ang opportunity. Mga oportunista talaga yung mga yan. Maniwala kayo sa akin, mga oportunista yung mga santo. Okay? Ang opportunity nakikita nila is how they can convert certain bad thing into good thing. Paano nila makikita na makapagbigay sila? Okay? Na, okay, like for example, pinahirapan ka, kita ka agad yan na isang santo, pinahirapan ako, kailangan kong magbigay ng love. Makapagbigay ako ng forgiveness. Okay? Kaya in our previous topic, nung sinabi ko na God is tanga, ganun din ang nagiging resulta ng mga santo. And this is also the kind of thing that is being thrown to us as a challenge, na magpakatanga tayo kasi yung pagiging tanga is actually godly. Okay? Yun ang ano. Kaya kung talagang kung talagang you want to go into marriage, una kasi titingnan mo, class, unang anuhin mo is yung courtship. Hindi dahil na in love ka, hindi ka na makatulog dahil isip mo sa lagi magpakasal na kayo, no? Hindi, palipasin mo muna 1 taon, 2 taon, 5 taon, okay? At least 5 years, class. Yun bang umabot kayo sa punto na nag-away kayo ng matindi, tapos tanungin mo sarili mo, ito yung gusto kong magiging partner, gusto ko pa ba ito? Okay? Kaya ko pa ba siyang pakisamahan kahit ang baho-baho ng utot niya? Okay? Kaya ko pa ba siyang pakisamahan na kahit kita ko na maamoy yung kilikili niya, may putok siya at ang itim pa ng kilikili niya? Yung lahat ng dapat ika-turn off ay nakita mo na. Ngayon, evaluate mo sarili mo. Kaya ko ba siya napakisamahan? Andito na yung worst sa kanya. Pag ang answer, class, is hindi, kumaripas ka na ng takbo. Okay? Pero kung ang answer no, kung ang answer yes, pakasal kayo. Okay? Kasi ibig sabihin, darating pa ang panahon na you will be in your worst, but you can stand, okay, on that kind of thing that is being shown to you by your partner kasi handa ka na. Okay? If you want to make a study, bakit ang daming naghihiwalay ng mga Christian couples? Simple lang yung, class, tinake for granted ang courtship period. Huwag niyong i-take for granted. Huwag i-take niyo for granted. Hindi dahil 2 years na kayo, ay, ang haba na ng 2 years, okay, mag-decide na tayo kung magpakasal o hindi. Hindi. Wala pa. Sa amin mag-asawa, sinadya ko talaga na umabot kami ng 5 years. On the 3rd year, nagpaparinig na misis ko, ano bang plano mo? Sabi ko, wala akong plano. Kaya mo bang wala akong plano? Okay? Kasi, kailangan kong makita yung worst niya. At kailangan niya rin makita yung worst ko. The 4th year, dumating sa punto na yung to the point na kailangan namin i-end yung relationship. Pero, tiningnan namin, okay, binalikan namin yung point, yung time kung bakit nagustuhan namin yung isa't isa. Okay? Tapos, tiningnan namin, kaya ba namin na ito yung klaseng tao na pakisamahan habang buhay. On the 5th year, doon ako nag-decide. Sige, sabi ko sa kanya, sige, tara. Okay? Siguro, okay na yun, no? Yung 5 years. Okay? Dumating man palagi sa punto na nag-away kami, pero darating pa rin yung panahon na mahimasmasan kasi it is a covenant, no? Doon, hindi dahil may anak. Okay? Napakababaw yun. Dapat matingnan mo, ano bang nature ng marriage? So, itong nature ng marriage, class, kaya nga binanggit ng mga reporter kanina, na it must be between man and woman. And please remember that the term man and woman is just a social construct. Pero there's a wisdom, Okay? In Genesis, hindi naman talaga man and woman kundi male and female. Sa letter ni Paul, okay? Binanggit ni Paul hindi male and female kundi man and woman. Ibig bang sabihin nagkamali si Paul o nagkamali itong Genesis? The answer is no, hindi. Dapat kasi mag-jive yung dalawa. Dapat pag male, ang resulta dapat nun ay man. At pag female, dapat ang resulta woman for the couple to be able to fulfill the responsibility of marriage. Kasi, pag sinabi mong marriage, kaakibat kasi nun ang responsibility. Okay? Anong responsibility? One, procreation. And when we say procreation, it is not just about the bearing of a child in the womb of your female spouse, pero kasama dito yung pag-aruga ng magiging offspring ninyo, okay? Pag-support financially, spiritually, emotionally, lahat yon. And to promote and protect the life of the product of your love, the offsprings. Yun ang procreative part. Okay? Now, that is why ang ni-require is dapat male na man at female na woman. Okay? Kasi sila lang ang may kakayahan for the procreative part. Itong una is yung pagbuntis. Okay? At pwedeng isusunod na yung mga responsibility. Pero unang-una talaga dapat makita na may produkto, no? Kaya nga maraming mga detriments into marriage. Una, kung impotent ka, hindi ka pwedeng magpakasal. Okay? Kaya nga ang marriage is not actually a right. Hindi sa right, kundi privilege lang siya. Why? Because someone is calling you for marriage, for a certain vocation. At hindi lahat ay para sa pagpapakasal. Ang vocation, tatlo. Married life, religious life, single blessedness. Okay? At kailangan mong i-discern yan. Saan ba ako? Ako, more than almost 10 years in the seminary, akala ko talaga magpapari na ako. At hindi ako na girlfriend sa loob ng seminary kasi nga, seryoso ako na gusto kong maging pari. But when I discerned, undergoing 3 Ignatian retreats. Pag sinabing Ignatian retreat class, ang isang retreat noon is 1 month. So, 3 buwan yun. Doon ko nakita, I discern that I am not for religious life, for priesthood. Kaya, umalis ako. I discerned naman kung saan ako, single blessedness ba or married life. Nakita ko, married life. Okay? That is why I said, it is not really a right, no? Na pag sinabi mong, gusto kong magpakasal, ibigay nyo sa akin lahat ng kailangan para sa kasal. No. You have to discern what is the call of God for you so that you can respond. And is your capacity or are you capacitated enough to respond to that call? Kaya nga ang tanong ko is ganito. May chance ba ang mga homosexual couples into marriage and to be elevated much more into the sacrament of matrimony? Based in your study, standpoint of Christianity to marriage, meron ba?
Sir, we focus lang po sa church wedding and civil wedding.
Yes, pero kasama dito ang standpoint ng Christianity, kung heterosexual ba or homosexual ay included into the Christian wedding or matrimony. Kasama yan. Hindi yan pwedeng maghiwalay.
Heterosexual.
Heterosexual lang?
Apo.
Okay. Bakit? Bakit? Baka mamaya is mabrand tayo at kayo na homophobic. Pag ganun, kailangan natin ipaliwanag bakit.
Sir, kahit medyo unfair pa siya sa standards natin ngayon, hindi po siya pwede kasi tulad nga po ng sabi mo, sir, may no offense po pala muna. Pero based nga po sa sinabi mo, first first condition is procreation po. Based po dun sa mga standards na sinabi mo, first statement is procreation. So, I mean, hindi po pasok kasi ang adoption dun kasi procreate, dapat po produkto nilang dalawa. So, based po dun sa mga sinabi mong standards, tsaka based po sa nakasulat sa sa Bible po hindi po pwede.
Okay, hindi pwede, okay. Pero paano kung halimbawa case ng halimbawa homosexual couple pero ang isang partner pala doon is a hermaphrodite. Do you know what is hermaphroditism? Ano yun, Joyce Ann? Yung hermaphroditism.
Dalawa po yata yung genital.
Okay. Tapos parehong functional.
Yes po.
Okay. Paano kung ganun? Halimbawa, ang physique ng isang partner is actually lalaking-lalaki, balbasarado, pero ang kaso pala niya is hermaphrodite siya, na meron siyang genital na lalaki, pero meron din siyang ovary.
But sirs, in some cases po, dun sa hermaphrodite is isa lang po yung gumagana or nagagamit nila. So, pumipili lang po sila dun ng isa. Kung ano po yung magiging sexuality talaga nila.
Kaso
so,
lang,
I think,
merong kaso na lumitaw, na-interview pa ito ni Jessica Soho. Saan ba yun? Tacloban ba yun? Or basta or Mindanao? Yung hermaphrodite talaga. Very real case, no? 29 years old, nagugulat siya, lalaki siya, pero bakit dinadatnan siya buwan-buwan? Talagang may menstruation siya. Tapos, nagpatingin siya sa doktor, talagang bruskong-brusko, lalaking-lalaki, may girlfriend siya . Ang sabi ng doktor sa kanya, kaya sa dinadatnan buwan-buwan kasi may ovary siya. So, ibig sabihin, functional yung ari niya, pero functional din yung ovary niya.
but sir, sabi niyo nga po, it's a rare case. So, hindi naman po siya makaano sa lahat.
Kaya nga, paano yung pag may rare case na ganun? Tapos homosexual yung couple, pero yung isa is hermaphrodite. Can they be accepted into marriage or in the case of the church, matrimony?
Tatype ko na lang po, sir. Medyo mahaba.
Ano yung inano mo, Joshua? If we would abide in the rules of the Bible and the standards of it, shouldn't be considered. However, if we would favor in hermaphroditism, that person should identify which role he or she should fulfill for it to be considered in the eyes of God. Yun na nga, Joshua, halimbawa, no? In homosexual couple sila, tapos siya naman, ang role niya gusto is babae. No? Nagkataon, hermaphrodite siya. Okay, pinili niya maging babae. So, yung isang partner is boyfriend niya. Now, gusto nilang magpakasal. Ikakasal ba sila?
I think yes, sir.
Bakit?
Kasi, yung hermaphrodite na case po is he choose na po, or he or she chose, binili niya na po na kung ano po yung sexuality niya. Kasi di ba dalawa naman po yung genital niya.
So,
Pero
parang
okay lang ba
mag-a-adjust
'yon?
na lang po
Joyce,
sila.
okay lang ba 'yon na halimbawa, punta sa ng Thailand, magpa-sex sa chain siya, pero hindi niya babaguhin yung physique niya, na bruskong-brusko pa rin siya, may balbas sarado pa rin siya, pero wala na yung genital niya, so case pa rin siya ng homosexuality. Kasi, iba, machong-macho, balbas sarado, pero nagpa-sex change na, may ovary ngayon.
Sir, valid po for marriage yun based dun sa sinabi mo kasi po ma-fulfill niya po yung standard niya ng procreation.
Very good. Mafulfill kasi niya. Mafulfill niya. Kasi pwede siyang magbuntis, okay? Pwede siyang mag-anak, okay? Pero rare case lang yon. Kaya swerte yung isang homosexual na hermaphrodite pala. Okay? Pero may nangyari na ba sa church nito? Wala pa. Pero kung meron, by definition of marriage and matrimony, it should be allowed. It should be allowed. Pero very rare case yan. Okay? At saka wala pang nangyari na hermaphrodite nagpakasal. Wala pa. Okay? Kadalasan sa hermaphroditism is I think mga animals, not so much about the human species. Bihirang-bihira sa human species. Okay, thank you for engaging the inquiries and questions coming from the panelists. Okay, anything you want to say before we proceed? Wala na? Okay. Kung wala na, okay, congratulations. This is a nice paper. Ang kinakaano ko lang dito, researchers, is paano ko pag i-upload ko to sa YouTube, yung ano ba nito, yung background music is
No copyright po.
no copyright na. Gumawa na lang kayo kaya ng dalawa nito, isa na may background music, isa na wala yung background music. In case na makopyright yung background music, is yung isa ang i-upload ko para hindi na ako manghingi pa sa inyo, hindi tayo magtatagal sa uploading. Ganun na lang gagawin ninyo, ha? Kasi baka mamaya is Okay, our time is 6:23 and we are up to 6:30. But still we have somebody, okay, one group to shall we say present on the paper entitled The Effects of Forced Religion to an Individual's Mental Health. Ipopursue pa ba natin to o sa next na? Sa next na? Para makapagpahinga tayo? What is the feel of the class? Sa next na? Okay, yung next natin, okay lang ba sa inyo na para makapagpahinga tayo, pahinga tayo bukas? Monday na tayo mag-resume. Total, last day naman yon.
Okay lang sa akin, sir.
Okay lang sa inyo? Or gusto nyo bukas na? Kaso lang, hindi ako pwede bukas. Sasamahan ko yung baby ko para mag-enroll sa school niya for sa ano niya, bagong school niya. Okay lang sa inyo? Monday?
Okay lang, sir. Monday na.
Monday tayo, ha? Monday tayo. Sige,
Opo.
baba ko na lang yung yung tawag nito, yung link for the recitation. Dahil lang. Kunin ko lang to. Okay, ito yung link, and this is the question that you need to answer. Bakit ayaw? Okay, yun ang question. What particular topic that struck you most? And what learning do you gain from this conference? This second day of the conference, this second day.
Marami po ba?
Okay, so the next time we will be having 4. Tatapusin natin yan kasi Tuesday start na tayo ng class for the second block. Okay, so kung mapunta kayo sa COS 22 kay Sir Dom, kaya kilala nyo na, no? Kilala nyo na. Okay, the next meeting we will be having negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability to be the first presenter, to be followed by belief influence of different religions and beliefs in terms of conducting health, then to be followed by the effects of discrimination to transgender in the Philippines, and the impact of cyberbullying amongst the Filipino youth. Ito na lang ba lahat ng mga papers? Wala nang dumating, di ba? Kasi yun lang ang nakita ko. Tama ba? Meron bang grupo na hindi na-mention yung paper? Okay, hearing none, so I presume na yun na yung lahat ng paper. So by Monday, we will be having 4 papers. Okay? Tatapusin, wala na tayong choice doon kundi tatapusin natin by Monday. Okay, Ralph, can you lead our closing prayer? Ralph?
Ako po, Ralph.
Yes, ikaw.
Wait lang. Start na po.
Sige.
Their Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Our Lord Jesus in heaven, hallowed be your persona, your custom come. Your lean start up be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread.
Forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Do not bring us to test, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Before I dismiss you, let us thank Professor Joe Dominic de Guzman for gracing us, okay, to be our panel for the 2 straight days already of our mini conference. Sir Dom, maraming salamat.
Thank you Dan, Sir Nalang. God bless. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you po.
ingat kayo. Maraming salamat sa pagpunta, no? Okay. Okay, so see you on Monday, the same time. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, sir.
Ganda ng V8 mo talaga, no? Magkano yung package na yan sa nung binili mo? Bala kong bumili, masakit to sa pag tumagal sa ano eh. Magkano?
Mahirap na kano sa headset palagi.
Oo nga eh, masakit sa tenga pag tumagal.
Kaya maganda meron kang ano ito. 1.5 kompleto na lahat.
Kasama na V8 nun.
Kasama na.
Sige. Tingin nga ako. Masakit pag tumagal eh. Kanina 7 o'clock ako nag-start. Hanggang ngayon gamit-gamit. Masakit.
Masakit. Namamawis na yung tenga mo. Tapos masakit na rin yung ano, yung nakapokus lang sa tenga.
Oo nga eh. Yung pag ginanon mo, ito oh. Parang ang lutong na ng tenga ko.
Parang nag-e-echo siya.
Okay. Sir Tom, maraming salamat ha. Uy, bukas pala may mag-register ka dun sa ano, sa UST. Sabi ni Sir.
Saan yung link na yun?
Nasa email daw. Hanapin ko nga mamaya din ang email niya yun eh.
Oo. Kailan yan? Bukas na yan?
Bukas na. Sabay ata sa ano. Hindi, pagkatapos pala ng ano, wait
I-ano mo rin sa kanya yung link ng ano,
sige,
yung
sige.
sa Biblia, yung
Sa,
Biblia aral na ano.
sa Biblia, no?
Oo, maganda rin yun eh.
Kaya
Certificate
nga,
yun. Monthly, ay weekly.
weekly. Maganda ngayon.
Oo.
Pero mas maganda talaga si Father, ano, no? Si Father Joji. Kahit man
Oh.
magaling yung dalawang doktor na nagsasalita. Magaling naman sila, wala akong masabi. Pero iba yung dating ni Father Joji pag siya yung naghimay
Iba
ng
yung
Biblia.
dalawa. Kasi yung dalawa parang catechism naman eh.
Oo.
Yung approach nila. Walang ganang yung i-expound sa everyday at
Kay
saka
Father
ano.
Joji, halata mo talaga na talagang napakabihasa sa Biblia.
Totoo
Makita mo
ka. Totoo dyan. Oo.
Kaya gustong-gusto ko talaga pag naano siya. Bukas, dahil may conference ako sa dalawa na subject, ang mangyayari talaga nito, mag mag-ano ako, itatambayan ko na lang yung kay Father Joji.
Oo.
Tatambayan ko na lang. Walang choice
Ako ano eh, ang ginagawa ko kasi, may isa akong laptop. Pag dalawa yung conference, kinakabit
Isa.
ko pa yung laptop.
Yun nga din eh.
Para dalawa siya.
Wala tayong choice eh. Kailangan natin
Oo.
mag-multitask.
Oo. Yun yung ano ko eh. Yun ang ginagawa ko rin, inaano ko siya. Dinadalawa ko siya sabay.
Sige sir, maraming salamat ha.
Thank you,
Maraming
Ben.
salamat.
Ang dami ko rin na natututo sa ating na nare-review. Thank you very much sir Nalang.
Sir, maraming salamat talaga. Buti
Okay.
nandyan ka lagi pag nangailangan ako.
Oo, thank you. Thank you rin sa tiwala. Thank you.
Oo naman, lagi yan.
Okay. Sige, ingat ka sir Nalang. God
Sige
bless.
sir.
God bless.
Sige, God bless. God bless. Good night.